Well, all right, everybody. We're here for our second part of our standard send-off 2022 Strixhaven. We're ready to go through you. Um, this is a set that's hard for me to talk about. Like, I don't have many great stories. I think it just got overshadowed by a lot. I thought this flavor would just be a slam dunk. I still think we're going back to Arcavios. I still think we will see Strixhaven again. I even think there are some weird little cards that will gain some value over time because of their potential. But I think with when this set came out, how it came out, and maybe there's Harry Potter fatigue, you know? As a older millennial who was never that into Harry Potter, I know I've experienced Harry Potter fatigue where I'm like, it's kind of a tired idea to me. Low-key Harry Potter is basically a much more the only thing that matters is what happens at school version of the X-Men. And Tendrils of Agony, sick. I don't think I've opened a single one of those. Oh, foil Cody and Colonian Hydra. Wow, that was quite the pack there. Ingenious Mastery, Tendrils of Agony, Cody, and Colonian Hydra. We're off to a pretty good start if I can not drop all the cards. But other than like some contributions to Commander and maybe things like there's Mari Command and Expressive Iteration hanging around, maybe that's quelling the board wipe that generates mana for 2 or less for 4. That card is good. Nice little land there. Agonizing Remorse. Team Pennant. Let's make a little foil stack. I think Strixhaven's going to kind of go down quietly as one of those kind of forgotten sets. I think they wove the story in to go back. I think Wizards has a vested interest to return to Arcavios, and I think we'd want to go there too. I just think they know it was a little underpowered. They got to step it up next time. Silver Pro Command and Plarg. Little Infuriate. And a Heated Debate. So, not much of a heated debate. I think Strixhaven's kind of going down as like, oops, it's the set that didn't quite make it. Boy, when the Commander decks were first debuted, I thought this was going to be the hot stuff, guys. I thought this was just going to take over, and it was pretty eye-opening that it didn't work that way. Sparring Regimen, and a D-Spark, and a Pop Quiz. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe everybody thinks about school fondly, and then once you have to revisit it again, it's just not what it's cracked up to be, Just not what it's cracked up to be. So, we're flying through these cards, but it's hard for me to find a lot that I would stop. Snow Day. Dream Strix. Oh, Negate for the archive there. Oh, Bloodied Ghoul. Bloodied Ghost. Cool card. Little throwback there to Eventide, I believe. So yeah, old Strixhaven, leaving it behind. But, I wanted to share another lesson I learned. I was talking in my last video about this set, about, like, you can live with regrets about selling cards, not holding them, or what you do with them. And you know what story I always come back to say, like, I can't live my life like that. You're going to sell some cards. You're going to hold them forever. Whatever you're going to do, you just can't live with regrets. I think the first ever 2 Magic products I bought was a starter deck. Back when they still had starter decks. They weren't even called tournament packs yet. They were called starter decks. And I bought one of 4th edition, and I bought one of Ice Age. And that was the very first Magic I spent my allowance on before, I think, going home for Christmas break. And then the next time I was able to get to the comic book store, Alliances was out, and I was going to buy some Alliances. Ooh, Ishkana the Graph Widow. Is that our second mythic? Like Colonian Hydra and Ishkana the Graph Widow? Wow. When it enters the battlefield, if there are 4 or more card types among the cards in your graveyard, put 3 1/2 spiders. Target opponent loses 1 life for each spider you control. Great Spider Lord. And she's mythic. Old Eldritch Moon Classic. Man, I forgot about you, Ishkana. Cool. Okay. Anyways, here's little big cat. He's going in there. I was still a kid, and I was probably 9. Not even 10 yet. So it was 1994? No, it had to be the beginning of 95. End of 94, beginning of 95. And so I'm cruising in there. Maybe it's 95 on to 96. Sorry, guys. Getting old. Trying to remember. Blot Out the Sky. Very cool card. Not a very valuable mythic, but a cool card. Love the flavor. Beautiful regrowth. These little archives are cool. Anyhow, I cruise in and I tell the guy, I want to buy a couple booster packs of Avalanche with like my Christmas money or whatever. And he's like, what's Avalanche? And I look at the poster again and I'm like, oh, this set. And he's like, oh, that's called Alliances. So I bought some Alliances. Anyways, I remember going home, and this was when I was first like trying to build decks. Oh, another Cody. Another Valentine, Dean of the Vein. And, you know, back in those days, a lot of, like, the casual games we would play as buddies was 3 kids sitting around a circle for 2 hours playing approximately 19 creatures each of every color until finally someone would get up the courage to attack. And then it was on. And mostly you just grind that away until someone finally had enough lands to, like, disintegrate the guy from 12 and kill him. But I remember looking at my cards, trying to understand them, and trying to be like, oh man, I don't get this card. And I remember, ooh, Tainted Pact and multiple choice. Tainted Pact, very cool. Exile the top card of your library. You put that card in your hand unless it has the same name as another card with exile this way. Repeat this process until you put a card into your hand where you exile 2 cards with the same name. Whichever comes first. Saucy. Anyhow, I remember looking at one of the rares from my Ice Age starter and just really not understanding it, and ultimately starting to think, because I was starting to understand card advantage. And again, forgive me, I was 9 years old, but it was a little card called Necropotence. Back in the day we called it Necropotence, but it was Necropotence. And I thought that card was so bad, I remember throwing it in the trash can. So anyways, long story short, you can't live with regrets, because you know what? I just threw a fresh Necropotence in the trash can as a child. Little judgment card, Arcane Teachings. Enchanted creature becomes a Timmy and gets +2/+2. So, you know, that I just always look back on that moment and I'm like, well, I've got Necros now. I've got other cards I didn't have in that era. It's not like I threw Black Lotus in the trash or a Mox or like sneezed on a dual land. And again, I remember I had a buddy who needed to pay rent. He sold me like 15 white border dual lands for like $900 cash back in the day because the dude needed money. And I said, look, what do you got? I've got these. I was like, look, let me make you an offer. They were played. I said, look, man, I'm taking a lot of risk, but here's fast money. Let's do it. He's a good, trusted friend. Later on, I sold those. Paid for a semester of college with some Jace TMSs and some other random stuff from like Zendikar era standard, and was like, yeah, let's go pay for a full semester of college. Let's pay for all our books. Let's just, who cares about Magic anymore? I'm moving on with my life. And, I mean, here I am today. And, you know, just can't live with those regrets, guys. Just can't live with those regrets. Ooh, beautiful. Shine Shadow Snarl. Love that. Lightning Bolt. Love that. Oh, the little lady who didn't quite make it. Remember how much hype was around her? Everybody thought she was going to be the big star. Next Jace. Not quite. Oh, well. So anyways, yeah. I think what's so interesting to me is about that in Magic, because then I remember the same thing with Yawgmoth's Bargain. Like, looking at Yawgmoth's Bargain, realizing my mistake, playing it, and then not even realizing it until much later about how much more busted Yawgmoth's Bargain was. Like, playing bad cards and thinking Yawgmoth's Bargain is fair. Well, a little foil, thrill, a little possibility. So, you know, perspective, time changes a lot, and the reason that's relevant to today's video is Strixhaven. I think there's a lot going for Strixhaven, honestly. Conceptually, if you presented this to me as a marketer to sell a product, I think this set is a great idea. Oh, Primal Command. Booyah. Love that. Hello. I didn't know the commands are in here. Is there a Cryptic Command in this style? Beautiful. Love that. Oh, little Golden Glow Moth. Classic little life gainer. That, you know, I think, again, if you presented Strixhaven to me and said, look, it's like, we're going to do enemy-colored guilds. They're going to each have a distinct mechanic and flavor, and we're going to even focus on some stuff they haven't always done before. Red-White's going to get some new action. We know Boros needs some love. We're going to give it this cool, like, artifact interaction and recursion type stuff. You know, it all works on the surface. And I just want, you know, charms. Like, the set is just loaded with saucy charms with all the different commands. And I just wonder, you know, what made this not work? Big dragons lead each school? Liliana's there as a sexy librarian? Like, I mean, you start listing this off, and I'm like, dude, you're building a hit here. Cayenne, Dean of Substance, Grape Shot, little triple rare ski there. And, you know, I just wonder, like, so what didn't work? Why didn't Strixhaven stick the landing when, ostensibly, on paper, it sounds like an absolute layup, if not a slam dunk? And meanwhile, we'll go to Ravnica until, like... Am I the only one who's bored of Ravnica? Was I one of the few who's glad that we went to Strixhaven and not Ravnica again? I loved Ravnica, and for a long time, it became my new favorite set. My original favorite set was Tempest. Because I love... Oh, Unburial Rights. Love that card. Little classic. OG. You know, I loved original Tempest. And then I fell in love with Ravnica. My next favorite set. I wasn't really an Invasion guy just because I wasn't playing it much around that time. And I kind of thought Magic lost the plot of just like, every card's every color now. And we got to give them all easy mana. Beautiful Swords to Plowshares there. Gotta give everyone dual lands because you can't cast rainbow cards without easy mana. And I was like, what are they doing with this game? I don't want to play a bunch of bad kicker creatures. I want to play Carnophage. I'm that guy. But anyways, you know, Ravnica was like my favorite set. But I'll say this. The first time we went to Ravnica, fantastic. And then we went back and it was okay. Gift of Estates. What do we got going on here? Target opponent controls more lands than you. Search your library for up to 3 planes card, reveal them, and put them in your hand. Hey, sweet. Ooh, foil Prismari Command. That's a flasher. But yeah, you know, I feel at this point, like, especially after War of the Spark, I'm like, okay, we're cool on Ravnica. There's only so many times that Niv Mizzet can erase Jace's mind and run a maze, and a goblin is a mafia, and an angel died, and his police officer best friend. You know, like, we're good. Okay, I'm cool with taking a break. The only thing I'm really missing from Ravnica are Shocklands. Other than that, Ravnica can stay home. And I kind of thought Strixhaven was going to be our new, friendly, more inclusive, very visually diverse in representation visit to totally not Ravnica, you know? Putrefy. Love it. And, whoa, what do we got here? The Flame of Kel, the Dominarian Saga. Interesting. So, yeah, I just, you know, I guess my big thought leaving here was Zendikar Rising had some cool stuff. Reminds me a lot of a slightly tuned and definitely scared of power level Oath of the Gatewatch Battle for Zendikar. Kaldheim, I think it's a great set. Can't wait to go back. Love the mechanics, all in all. Oh, another ecological appreciation. Little rarity there. Little mythical rarity. Eliminate. Professor of Symbology. But in the end, what I think is the weirdest thing is that, like, it just didn't stick the landing. Like, Strixhaven's kind of this odd one out that it just seems like, I mean, if you mind wiped me and Strixhaven hadn't come out and they just did that Magic announcement and said, hey, after we do this, we're going to go to a new plane. And they just basically described Strixhaven to us. Again, on paper, it seems, oh, Urza's Blueprints. Hello. Great card. Love it. Sick. I just think it seems like such a slam dunk. So why did it fail? It's not like the cards are terrible here. And I mean, it does seem like, you know, they have different teams working on different stuff at different times. And that feels very evident. Like when you hold Kaldheim next to Zendikar Rising next to Strixhaven, they don't feel like the same people making them. Much like Dominaria United doesn't seem like it's the same people making it at the same power level as, say, Midnight Hunt or Crimson Vow. But like, all of those people are operating in the same environment where they understand what makes Magic popular and they're pursuing those ideals. And I just wonder, like, do some teams, and this maybe relates back to just work experience, beautiful Wandering Archaics, ooh, another Tendrils of Agony, like that, Shadewing Laureate, you know, do some teams just get caught with, this is the objective of this set, this is the design doc? And it does make you wonder, like, how heavily does the design doc set a development team onto the path of success or doom? Because Not to say Strixhaven was doomed. I mean, we will never see a Fallen Empires again. Oh, here we go. Another list card. Anointer Priest. Whenever a creature token enters the battlefield under your control, gain a life. Lovely card. That has commander potential all over it. You know, we'll never see a Homelands. We'll never see a set that's like so out of touch with where the game currently is that like it just loses sight of what it's supposed to be as a product. You know, especially when you look at the gulf of like Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Revised, still has some of the game's most powerful cards. Like stuff they just know they'll never reprint because they can't. Not just with the reserve list, but because like you'll destroy the game. But you look at what comes after, and it's like then it's like this fledgling crawl to iterative templates, and that's just an interesting thing. Like a little mythic body of research. I guess the mythics are pretty weak. Man, no dragons so far in this box either, which is pretty much a bummer. We've flown through this whole box. This one's pretty bad. But, you know, in the end, we're just going to bid farewell to Strixhaven. I think we will be back, Arcavios. I think we will see you again at some point in the future. And that'll just give us time to appreciate some of these as weird Commander gems. God's willing. Not a bad card. Frost Titan. Hey now, a little frosty. So, yeah, final thoughts on Strixhaven? We will be back. The song isn't fully sung. Kind of a misfire, but a great concept. We will see you again. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Thanks for bidding farewell to Standard with me. Catch you in the next few for some AFR and straight into Dominaria United. The heat's coming quick, kids. Stay good. Talk to you later.